Hello viewers, both physical and ethereal. I'm Kelby.
I'm Lola.
I'm Emma, and together we three are the NerdStreet Hoodlums.
The notorious lady nerd gang, here to give you unadulterated opinions on all things lady and nerd culture. Today is the anniversary of the cordless vibrator. Way back in the day, when a male doctor's diagnosis for anything that ailed a woman emotionally was female hysteria, they would prescribe something that was known as a pelvic massage, which is exactly what you think it is. Doctors found this to be time-consuming and a lot of hard work. So they invented something called the vibrator, which helped speed things up, if you get what I mean. Since this thing was invented all the way back in 1734, it's of course evolved with the times, from manual to steam-powered to electric. But in the grand old year of 1968, the patent for the cordless vibrator was approved. You are welcome.
This week, Avengers: The Age of Ultron started filming in Italy. And ladies and gentle mutants, we have our first on-set photos of Scarlet Witch, played by Elizabeth Olsen, and Quicksilver, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson. Now, for those of you who don't know, in the comics, these characters are not only siblings, but Magneto's kids. That's right, the Magneto. Not that you're going to hear the M name in this movie, because those rights belong to Fox, as does this Quicksilver costume. Gross.
All right, today we're going to talk about a little thing called the girlfriend zone. It's kind of like the friend zone's lesser-known redheaded stepsister. Let's say you're a lady in a social situation, be it at a bar, con, Game of Thrones themed dance party, and a gentleman strikes up a conversation with you. He's very engaging, and you talk about your mutual obsession with the cult of the Helix fossil and Twitch plays Pokemon. Long story short, he asks for your number. Awesome! You are totally down to be bros with this dude. So you inform him, whilst enthusiastically divulging your digits, that you're engaged, or only into guys with really cool hair, or who bear a striking resemblance to Arthur Darvill. And suddenly he is no longer interested. You've just been girlfriend zoned. I get it, dude. That girl was cute and nerdy, and you totally wanted to hit it. But deciding that you no longer want to be friends with her based solely on the fact that she's not interested in sleeping with you is super disrespectful. Because let's face it, if she had a Y chromosome, you would totally be friends with this girl. In rejecting this potential friendship, you're basically saying that you don't view this woman as a human and see her merely as a sexual object. And women are people too, damn it. Just ask George R.R. Martin. So this is actually an episode that we've wanted to do since we first started talking about doing this show. On the day that we were talking about the various topics that we wanted to cover, we'd sort of gotten to a discussion about how most of what we learned about sex, we learned from fanfiction. The very first erotic fanfiction I accidentally read.
It's always an accident.
It's always an accident. Well, because the way that they distinguish erotic fanfiction is to say that they are lime, which means like pretty heavy petting, pretty descriptive, or lemon, which is full on like smut.
Yeah.
A lot of the time without any plot whatsoever.
Yes.
The one that I read had a plot. It was a Ronin Warriors fanfiction. This one was dripping with Mary Sue's. Like, for anybody who doesn't know what a Mary Sue is, it's usually described as being a self-insert character by a female author that is an overly idealized version of herself. Basically, there was a Mary Sue for each of the 5 guys, except for maybe Rio, because like in it, he was totally getting it on with Mia. Kento, I think that's his American name, Shu in the Japanese version, which is Roiden Samurai Troopers. He was totally hooking up with this girl who was a slut. I learned all about blowjobs from that. I'm pretty sure there was some anal sex involved, and like, so there. Oh my God, I just remembered this. There was totally bondage too. She like fucking tied him down to the bed with like scarves and stuff.
My first erotic fan fiction, which I also stumbled upon on accident, was Fruits Basket themed, because I was really into Fruits Basket at the time, and there was a website and it just had a bunch of Fruits Basket fan fiction and fan art on it, and they label it lemon and lime, and I don't know what that means. And the first one I read was called, I remember the title. This is the only one I remember the title of. It was called I've Fallen and I Can't Wait. The premise was that Toru was just getting out of the shower. That's the main female character from Fruits Basket, who's never seen it. And she was just getting out of the shower, and Kyo was coming in, and he didn't know that she was in there, and they were like, oh my god! Bah! And what happens in Fruits Basket when this family gets hugged by members of the opposite sex because of this curse, they turn into animals from the zodiac. And he turns into a cat, and there's Toru naked on the bathroom floor, and then there's Kyo as a cat, and it's just like, oh, this is awkward. Kneading the boobs with his kitty paws, like, it got real wrong real fast.
Wow.
Later on, I found another one on that same website. This fic had Shigure and Toru getting it on, and I remember being super confused about how Shigure was able to like stimulate Toru with one hand, but also have intercourse with her. And it's because I didn't know about the clitoris at the time, and so I was just like, how many things are inside? I thought that the clitoris was inside the body, which I later learned that it's not. It's not where it is.
The first time that I read fanfiction that accidentally turned into just straight up Bone Zone fun times was when Phantom Menace had just come out. I found some story about and it was a total Mary Sue, and it was this girl who was like the best Sith fighter ever, who for some reason has to go kill Darth Maul. They start fighting, and then she's like, starts describing like the sweat on his horns, and then they just sort of start like ditch the lightsabers and start fucking. It's like the ultimate one night stand where like she wakes up in the morning and she's like, oh man, that was the most amazing sex with that he's red and black everywhere, by the way. She wakes up and she rolls over and she's like, oh man, that was the best sex ever, and he's gone because he just got in his spaceship and left.
I think it's also important to point out that even though you can learn a lot about like sexual freedom and a lot of different types of sex through fanfiction, it's also important to point out that some of it is absolutely ridiculous. Sometimes you get fanfiction that you are you like, oh, I didn't know that was possible.
Yep.
Other times you get fanfiction where Harry Potter and Draco Malfoy go at it and Harry Potter ends up pregnant.
Please do not assume that something described in a gay fanfiction can be used as lube in real life.
Oh my god, that was exactly where I was going. I was super into slash fiction for a while. For anybody who doesn't know what slash fiction is, it's it's like homoerotic fanfiction.
Fun fact, the origin of when the slash started happening was when people were writing sexy fanfiction about Kirk and Spock.
Homoeroticism in Japan is so common in like anime and manga and just literature in general that is geared at young women because they view teaching sex with just two dudes to be less threatening. I actually felt like I sympathized with that Japanese ideal because you had, in that situation, because it was two men, you had to have a man in the submissive role. Which as a woman was like, oh, guys can be submissive too. Like, I don't have to just like cow down and do whatever a guy wants me to do.
Did you write any erotic fanfiction?
I'll categorize it as fanfiction because I was clearly just ripping off the Anne Rice books. I wrote the least sexy vampire story you have ever heard in your entire life.
You mean Twilight? You wrote Twilight?
I thought I was writing this like this guy who was oozing with sexual tension. He was like, and the girl was very like swooning. It was very cliche. For whatever reason, I thought it was really sexy that like she always had hair ribbons and he was like he would smell them, and I was like, yes, that's sexy, right? But I wasn't even turned on by it. I was just sort of like, I'm going to write something sexy today.
I wrote a couple of like what I would refer to as like soft focus, like softcore porn kind of stuff. I mean, I had a plot, so it wasn't porn. And I got like into full details on describing foreplay, but like the actual sex, I was like, it happened, and it was awesome.
I wrote fan fiction, but I never had it in me to write erotic fan fiction. I did write this one, Yu Yu Hakusho fanfic. It's been so long I can't even remember the characters. Who's the ghost girl with the blue hair? Her and the he's a baby most of the time, but he can turn into a full-grown dude.
I don't remember any
But
of the
I wrote a
names.
fanfic where they went to prom
That's
together.
Wait, hold on. Was he a baby?
Because he had two forms in the show. He was like this weird, like, little baby ghost dude who ran everything, or he was like a full-grown dude who was actually like really dreamy and had a scarf and was like real handsome. Shut up.
It all comes back to scarves, guys.
It does. Look how we brought a full circle to scarves.
Scarves are sexy. If there's
Scarves.
anything we learned from fanfiction, not everything can be used as a lubricant,
And scarves are hot. Yeah.
Congratulations, guys. You just survived this super sexy episode of
The NerdStreet
Hoodlums. As always, guys, like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Twitter at NerdStreet. Social media. Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram. Also, we're going to be at a thing this weekend. So if you live in the Los Angeles area, you can come hang out with us. It's at an event. It's called Dancing with Dragons at the Grand Star Jazz Club in downtown Los Angeles, 9 o'clock on Saturday night, March 29th. Let us know if you're going to be there. We'll be in Game of Thrones costumes, so you might not necessarily recognize us. But I promise you we're going to be there.
This week's bonus footage is another installment of Sam Watches Stuff. I'm so excited because nothing brings me more joy than exploiting my fiance on the internet.
If you have any questions, comments, or fan fiction of your own that you would like to share with us, leave it in the comments below, and we will see you either at Dances with Dragons or next week.
So apparently there is a really bad or good, depending on how you look at it, fan fiction of Harry Potter called My Immortal, where from what it's explained to me, a girl in Slytherin has a crush on what's his name? White hair, Draco, and pretty much just her exploits of how much she loves him. So we were looking it up on YouTube, and apparently you can't even find episode 1 because content has not, ownership can't be explained or something. So we're starting off on episode 2. I don't think we'll need episode 1. Let's see how it goes, I guess. So here we go. It's interesting. I can already tell she's evil because she has a blue streak in her hair. Oh, this is Draco? I did not even get that was supposed to be... That was supposed to be Draco. It's kind of weird.
I don't know what classes I'm taking.
This thing's all over the place.
This is a $9 beer.
Excuse me. Wizards don't use dollar amounts. Get your facts right. I'm kind of curious, like, how much of this is actually written, and how much do they just take liberties? It's kind of Breakfast Club meets Harry Potter. It's kind of weird.
So there's me, Draco, Vampire, Diablo, who are dark and mysterious.
Who are these Vampire and Diablo she's talking about?
You know, I tried.
Is this just made-up characters? Maybe there was more to episode 1 than I thought. So, I understand the main girl, she's the writer of the fanfic. And she's basically trying to get a love triangle between her, Draco, and Harry Potter. I don't know what I'm watching. Was this what it was like to be in high school? I don't remember doing this. I was getting that vibe. I wasn't think she was gonna go that far, but oh god, okay. Oh, okay. Next episode.
You want to watch episode 3?
Is it bad that I kind of say yes?